After 3 years of producing content here on YouTube, in addition to working for some other much bigger channels, I have learned 10 lessons that I really wish I knew a lot earlier. In today's video, I hope to impart those lessons onto you, and if you're new here, my name is Geoff Fagien. I'm a filmmaker and DP based here in South Florida. I've been creating content for over 10 years, and although I've been doing YouTube for 3 years, I obviously have much more experience in the actual content creation side of things. I've worked for companies and influencers such as Grant Cardone, Axanar, which is a Star Trek fan film channel, and also Jazz's magazine. Some of the tips today, I'm going to elaborate with real-world experiences to let you know how they positively or negatively influence those specific channels. Creating content for all three of those companies, in addition to creating content here on the Reach Films channel, I have just learned so much that even as a filmmaker, DP, content creator, I just did not know before. So hopefully this video can help jumpstart your YouTube journey a lot sooner. Tip number 1, start and post before you're ready. I've been creating content for over 10 years now, and although I could have made a YouTube channel over 10 years ago, I was always thinking, oh, if I just had this or I just did that, I'll be ready to post content. I even did a few videos here and there. I posted some of my wakeboarding videos back over 10 years ago when that's what I shot primarily on my YouTube channel. But that really wasn't doing a channel at that point. That was really just using YouTube as a place to post content. Here at Reach Films, we talk about camera content. I like to educate on what's the value of different cameras, talk about it in terms of filmmaking. I did a few videos early on in 2018 that I really should have kept the momentum going back when the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera came out, but I just stopped creating content. If I just kept on creating content like I did, although the first videos I did stunk, especially compared to the kind of client work I do, once I started in 2019, every single video I did helped improve how I do YouTube content. That's why I say start before you're ready, because that next thing isn't always going to jumpstart and make you all of a sudden a million times better at YouTube. By starting YouTube and creating content, that's what's going to make you better at YouTube. Tip number 2 is, in the beginning, edit all of your own videos. The reason I say that is when you edit your videos, you see a lot of the mistakes that you did that you may not have seen while you were filming your video. On top of that, by editing your own content, it also makes you better at filming your own content in order to create better content for the editing room. Tip number 3 is presentation is important. Your audio is very important, like I'm using this microphone right here, and your lighting is important as well, whether you're using a big lighting modifier like I am right here, or you're filming outdoors. You always want to make sure that you're seen in the best light, even if you're not actually physically lighting yourself. Tip number 4. Thumbnails and titles are pivotal for YouTube viewership. Now, a lot of people start off and they just don't care about their titles, or they title their videos exactly the way they think they should, or they don't care about their thumbnails and they just use random pictures that don't really represent the video that well to a prospective viewer that may not know who you are at all. By choosing the right title and thumbnail, you can entice viewers to watch your video that may have no clue who you are and may actually subscribe and follow you on your YouTube journey just from seeing that one video. By using a bad thumbnail or a bad title, they may see your video on the home screen or wherever they find it and just decide not to click on it because it doesn't really interest them. Tip number 5, script your videos. Now, I don't script every single video. This video in particular, I didn't necessarily script, but I have a scriptment. I put a lot of things in my notes here on my phone, and I have it off to the side where I can check it, make sure I'm staying on target. But for longer videos where I have to go in depth, I actually use a teleprompter. I still do use my phone with the teleprompter in order to read off everything. However, if you're doing an in-depth video like a camera review or a how-to video where you want to make sure you list everything out how you do it, well, a teleprompter will absolutely help, and having a script will help as well. Now, there is a difference between having a script, a teleprompter, and also a scriptment. Now, a lot of people tend to read teleprompters or read off scripts, and they sound differently doing that than if they were just talking to the camera like I am right now. And that's why for a lot of videos, especially like this, I like to do the scriptment way. I can be kind of fast and loose in how I'm going to talk to you, the viewer, and also make it more like a conversation and less like I'm just reading a script. Tip number 6, choose the right camera for the job. Now, I don't mean go out there and get a RED camera or just some really expensive camera, but depending on the type of content you're doing, you may want to get the right device to capture your content for that job. So if you're a vlogger, Depending on the types of vlogging you do, if it's outdoors on the water, you may want to get a GoPro, one of the latest ones, or if you're a camera reviewer, you may want to have one of the latest mid-level prosumer cameras to do your videos. Like right now, I'm using the Canon EOS R7, and that's pretty much been my studio camera for the past few months. Before then, it was an EOS R6, and before then, it was a Blackmagic pocket camera, 6K and 4K. Now, those cameras made sense for my channel because a lot of my content is talking about camera gear, so it makes sense to be filming myself with a nice camera. However, if you're just starting out and you're doing stuff for kids or giving advice for parents, things that can be filmed on a phone, the phone is the best way to get started. However, as your channel advances, and if this actually does become a business for you, you do want to consider eventually moving from using something like a phone or a webcam or a GoPro to using something a little bit more high-end like a mirrorless camera or a DSLR, or depending on what you're doing, maybe even a cinema camera. You just have to choose the right tool for the job. Different cameras will help you out in different ways as far as right tool for the job. For instance, I moved from using cinema cameras to mirrorless cameras as I really noticed that after working for Cardone, having autofocus doing a lot of this video content really helps because I don't have to manually set my focus every single time before I do a video. I just turn on the camera, get my exposure right on, and also if I didn't know how to do my exposure, I could shoot in an auto mode, get similar looking video to this, and still not worry about my autofocus. I mean, look, here's my hand, goes up to the camera, autofocus is on it, and then back to me. That was pretty quick. And on cinema cameras, or at least traditional cinema cameras, I couldn't do that. I had to use manual focus and just go to the camera and go to the lens and switch it like this, and it just wasn't really effective, especially when I had certain videos semi out of focus that I couldn't tell when I went to go film them, and then I would have to go refilm the interview all over again. So choosing the right tool for the job is really important, and I can't emphasize on that enough. Tip number 7, keep your content consistent. And that's not just consistently posting, but that's also posting the same kind of content that your viewers expect to see from you. Here are some examples. So when I was working for Grant Cardone, most of his content is real estate, as he's an influencer for teaching people how to buy real estate and why it's important in your life. So pretty much all of his videos are going to somehow deal with real estate, especially on his YouTube channel. He's not going to go out and post a long 20-minute review on Top Gun because that's not why you subscribe to see Grant Cardone. You subscribe to learn the tips and tricks of how to sell real estate. Another example, which is a good bad example, is on the Axanar channel. Axanar is a Star Trek fan film that got its initial following from its first fan film back in 2013, 2014, somewhere around there, and it got a few million views and generated a lot of subscribers for that channel. Most people subscribe to that channel to see Star Trek fan film content. Now, the guy who runs that channel is a friend of mine. His name's Alec Peters, and he doesn't look at himself as a YouTuber. So occasionally he'll go and post really long videos about puppies because he's a really big advocate about saving puppies, saving animals. However, most of his subscribers did not subscribe to him to learn how to save animals. So what happens when he does a lot of content like that is, number one, it doesn't really get a lot of views on his channel. And number two, it does lead to people unsubscribing just because they get a notification on their phone, they see it has nothing to do with what they subscribe for, and they're like, all right, if they're not really that invested in the channel, they just go unsubscribe because they don't want to see that content anymore. So stay consistent with your content. A great example for me is I talk a lot about camera gear and making content for clients, for YouTube, making video content in general. But you're not going to see me post a video on how to build a Lego set. It's just not consistent with the message and the video content that I put out here. And then obviously stick to some kind of schedule. You don't necessarily want to post a video or 5 videos every single week, but whether that's posting once a month, twice a month, once a week, a kind of schedule that you can actually do with whatever your work schedule is. The more consistent you are, the more you're going to see viewers keep on returning to your channel. Number 8. Network with other creators. If you see a creator that you like, comment on their video. Let them know that you like what they are doing and you appreciate them. You never know how it may come back to you and they may do something with you, maybe a collaboration. Maybe they come to your channel and write a comment on there and let you know that they see you, they see what you're doing. Make sure you comment on other creators' stuff. I've been able to network with people with a much bigger following than me just because of specific videos that I've put out there, But it wasn't even just because they saw my video, it's because I've commented on their videos before, and then they've naturally come across my video, realized who it was, and then commented on my video, reached out to me personally, and it starts a wonderful friendship, or if anything, you become acquaintances with each other. Number 9, research YouTube trends. YouTube is a forever changing and evolving animal. What's popular today is not necessarily going to be popular tomorrow. So do your research and see what the trends of the current time period are. Great channels that help you with that are Think Media, Nick Nimmin, Channel Makers. A lot of those channels go over the latest trends in YouTube, so you don't necessarily have to do all the little bit of research, but you do have to do the research by watching their content in order to stay up to date with what's going on. Tip number 10, do YouTube because you want to do it. An example of this is I do YouTube because over the past 10 years, I've had a lot of local professionals in the video field come to me and ask me questions about camera gear. And they always say, oh, you should do a YouTube channel. So instead of responding to the same group of people about the same camera, giving them the same specs, I decided to go out and talk about camera gear and just create video content that a lot of my friends now, instead of texting me, just go watch my videos. And it's funny how that's how I got started making content, just trying to help others and educate them on why certain camera gear works a certain way or why a certain camera, in my opinion, is better than another camera. Whether it's size, features, or whatever it may be, it's my opinion on what I think about certain camera gear. I wouldn't go out to do YouTube because you need it to be your main source of income, because most channels do not hit it virally off the bat. You have to be extremely lucky and in basically the lower 1% of channels in order to hit some kind of vein like that. But if you're doing YouTube because you love it, then it doesn't matter whether you have 1 viewer or whether you have 1 million views. You do content because it satisfies you, and then you will end up getting the reward for doing that by creating content that you enjoy doing. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about the 10 tips I've learned over the past 3 years of creating content for YouTube. Now, there are other tips, but I wanted to specifically talk about tips for YouTube, not necessarily tips on how to make money, but there are certain avenues to make money, especially when you're first starting, such as affiliate links. So if you're interested in hearing about that, let me know in the comments below, and I'll do a video in the future talking about how to do affiliate links with companies like Amazon in order to make a little bit of revenue on the side and reward yourself a little bit for the work you're doing currently on your channel. Until next time, thank you for watching, everybody. My name is Geoff Fagien, and I will see you in the next video.